already since the first time we had gotten a bottle. Me and my wife had come out on a tour early last year and picked up a bottle of it. And to me, you guys are right on par. Chasing Weller, I guess, is what I would call it.
I appreciate that. I do. As someone who is a fan of Weller, I appreciate that a lot. I think they put out a lot of really good products, so that's a huge compliment for sure.
Welcome to another trip down the Bourbon Road with your hosts, Jim and Mike. So grab a glass of your favorite bourbon and kick back.
We would like to thank Tommy and Gwen Mitchell from Logheads Home Center for supporting this episode of the Bourbon Road. Find out more about their fine rustic furniture at logheadshomecenter.com. Well, times are tough and we're all stuck at home, but you know what? We can still drink some bourbon and we can use some technology to get online and talk to each other. And today, that's exactly what we're doing. Mike's at his house, I'm at mine, and we've got Haley on from Wilderness Trail Distillery. And we're going to do our best to knock out an episode and do a good interview here and let you guys hear a little bit about what Wilderness Trail has going on. I have to warn you, though, we did have some technical difficulties. We were fighting microphone problems and a little bit of internet issues. But at the end of the day, I think we were able to squeak out an episode, and I hope you all can appreciate it and give us a pass anyway. We're doing the best we can. You know, the Bourbon Road likes to be on the road. But during these times, we've got to do what we can and make do. And hopefully when this is all over with, we'll get back out there and pick up where we left off, and well, it'll be good times again. So please enjoy the episode with Wilderness Trail.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Shannon.
And I'm Mike Hyatt.
And this is the Bourbon Road. And Mike, we're sitting at home today, right? But 3 different places.
Well, we're on StreamYard. We're doing a video conference with Haley from Wilderness Trail. She is one of their brand ambassadors. She's their social media guru, and she's an American badass. So welcome, Haley.
I'll never tire from being called something like that. It's so great.
Well, Haley, welcome to the Bourbon Road. It's nice to have you on today.
It's great to be on. It's great to be here in our virtual hangout space with you guys. So it's been nice.
Yeah, this is the Bourbon Road Speakeasy, virtual speakeasy. And Haley's bringing the whiskey today, huh?
That's right. I am. I'm bringing a few different whiskeys for you guys to try with me and partake in. It'll be fun.
So, Haley, what's the first whiskey that you got for us today?
So the first whiskey I have for you guys is our wheated bottled and bond bourbon. We're starting with this one first because it's the first one we ever released, which is, we're pretty proud of that. It's being a bottled and bond. It's 4 years old. It's 100 proof. And 4 years is a long time to wait on a baby. So we were extremely excited when that first came out. We were proud to have our name on it. So this is our 64% corn, 24% wheat, 12% malted barley mash bill. And with that, using all local grains, everything like that. Sweet mash, non-chill filtered, all the other fun raw words you want when it comes to drinking your bourbon. So we were thrilled to have it out. And it's just a delicious product. I'm 100% biased, right? But it is a delicious, delicious product. A lot of very sweet dessert type notes on it. Mikey and I have mentioned this before, but just fruit notes as well. So I don't know, you guys want to go ahead and dig in with me, or?
Let's get to it. Yeah.
So when I'm nosing it, I get those fruit notes, some caramel, some toasted marshmallow in there.
Mm-hmm.
You had talked about before about a chocolate covered, like a citrus candy.
Yeah.
That you get at Christmas time. I could get that too. Just a very sweet bourbon, a good representation of a wheated bourbon. I'm all about the wheated bourbons, about the wheat. You know, I like to profess myself as the wheated king of Kentucky.
I can agree with that for sure. Wheated king of Kentucky, I like that.
So I would say, you know, I've drank a couple of bottles of this already since the first time we had gotten a bottle. Me and my wife had come out on a tour early last year and picked up a bottle of it. And to me, you guys are right on par. Chasing Weller, I guess, is what I would call it.
I appreciate that. I do. As someone who is a fan of Weller, I appreciate that a lot. I think they put out a lot of really good products, so that's a huge compliment for sure.
This was the first distillate that you guys made, and what year was that?
So we released this. Well, our release for it was back in 2018, but we basically started making it back in 2013. We released 2 products prior to that that we still carry to this day. But this was the first whiskey that we ever released. So, it's exciting to, we were able to have our vodka and our rum prior and kind of start to make our name for ourselves. But when you call yourselves a bourbon distillery, but you don't have bourbon, you're kind of a big tease until then. So we were very excited and very proud to have this one out.
So we've been out to Wilderness Trail a couple of times. Mm-hmm. We came out there and we did an interview with Pat and Shane, the founders and owners. Yeah. And then I came back out. Jim was on the road out to Colorado for some vacation time, and I came out there and did the Kentucky Barbecue Festival. Mm-hmm. And actually, we interviewed you that day too.
That's when I met you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what's changed since then, since our first interview with you guys? Has anything changed there at Wilderness Trail?
Oh, let's see. It's so funny. So much has changed. I was reflecting on that the other day. I just celebrated my 3-year work anniversary there. And in that amount of time alone, if you had gone to visit back in 2017 when I first started and haven't been there since, you might think it's a whole new place. So a lot has changed. We joke that we are one of the only distilleries that I know of that expanded, 3 times before we even released this bourbon. So a lot's changed, a lot's continuing to change. We've expanded our visitor center. Our rick houses have grown exponentially and are growing. And so that's been an exciting process. We've also recently acquired a property right across the street from us that we are working with our grain producers to actually allow them to grow maybe on that site as well. So we can help kind of allocate from more land and kind of have maybe a little bit more hands-on approach with our grains as well. We're pretty hands-on with everything we do anyway. So, but having that grain literally across the street from us is an exciting option to have. So those things have all been in place, and we're excited to see what happens with that land as well. As far as hopefully having it for more rickhouse spaces, because barrels are pretty big. They take up a lot of room, and so those things. One thing that you can't currently see to the public, one thing I know I'm really excited about, I think we all pretty much are, is we just expanded our bottling line. And so I would say to probably most distilleries, it doesn't look like a whole lot, but to us, it was a huge expansion. We went from having, a 6-nozzle, it looked like a fountain drink dispenser, for our bottling line, all hand done, 6 at a time. That's all you can manage, and hand label it, move on. And now we have a beautiful automated state-of-the-art bottling line. Still does 6 at a time, but a lot faster than we can manage at a time. Labels it all for us and everything, and that has really been nice. Our bottling and warehouse people have truly enjoyed not feeling so behind and not feeling so rushed in the process. So that's been a nice expansion. Maybe not so nice for the public because it's not so, ooh, wow, see this. But for us as the workers, we're pretty pumped about it.
Oh yeah, I would think so. So what sort of fueled those early expansions before you guys released your first bourbon? What caused you to, I mean, I guess the vision grew, right?
Yes, the vision grew. One of the beauties of where we've started and where we've come from is that we had Firm Solutions, our fermentation and consultation company prior to Wilderness Trail, which had allowed us to really be self-funded throughout this whole process. Pat and Shane are two experts in this field as far as knowing the behind the scenes and basically from doing that, and opening the distillery and saying, hey, we've seen on the other end of this where this is going. We've seen their expansions, their things. We've seen where this is going. And even then, once we already opened, kind of, speaking to other industry folks, speaking to other council and things like that, it kind of just became apparent that we would need more than what we were working on already. So we had a small doubler column still situation that we were working on, and it grew to an 18-inch continuous column still, which then grew to a 36-inch continuous column still, and going from 4,000 gallon tanks to 20,000 gallon tanks. And so I think really it was the idea of just kind of listening to council, listening to other people too. And, not only listening to our consumers and kind of seeing the demand, but also listening to other people in the industry, which is the nice thing about this industry is, especially for Pat and Shane, there's no secrets to them, right? Everyone talks in this industry. We all want to share and help each other and do those things. But even more for Pat and Shane, where they help fix those problems and those secrets that other distilleries might have. So, but I think definitely one of the big eye-opening things for us was after we released our first bourbon and how fast it just all went and how quickly we realized that we needed to resupply and keep up with the demand. So that was probably the big indicator for the later expansions. It was just realizing, oh boy, okay, they really want this. So we got to keep up with it.
I still remember when the first delivery of your product came to my local liquor store. And how many of your bottles are in a case? Is it 6
currently.
So my liquor store got one case, and I'm really good friends with him, and he's like, "You've got to try a bottle of this. It's the very newest stuff in the world." So yeah, of course I got a bottle of it. I took it home and absolutely blown away. Bottled in bond and a weeder, and just very delicious. You didn't taste. It didn't have any youth to it. It was very, very soft up front and sweet, but it had a nice, caramel, vanilla, and then it had so many other notes that kind of exploded in the background and presented themselves. I was like, man, I can't wait to see where this thing is in a couple more years. It's delicious today. So, wow.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. Yeah. And especially for a wheat, 4 years for most wheats is fairly young. And so you're used to kind of expecting those young flavors and kind of that more, I always feel like young wheats are very parsed out in their flavors. They're very compartmentalized when they're young. They're not so melded together. For me, a young wheat doesn't take you on a seamless journey when you taste it. It's more like Oh, there it is. Oh, there's another one. Oh, like it's very abrupt the way the flavors come through. So this was a nice surprise for all of us, I think. So especially I love wheat too. So I was excited that the first thing we came out with was a wheat. So yeah, delicious.
So I guess when a new product is released, a lot of times there's a lot of fanfare around it. There's a lot of excitement. And if it tastes good, then it doesn't deflate. It doesn't fizzle out. The shelf's just empty. Right. And that's what happened to you guys.
Yeah, and for us too, I mean, it was not only, because we started with a small fan base, we started very well unheard of. I think it's still continuing to grow just because people are still learning about us and hearing about us. When we first released, we were only in Kentucky and some parts of like Maryland and DC. That was it. You had to come find us. You had to hear about us, those things. So I think, now that we're expanding to new states and kind of branching out from the central Kentucky nucleus, excited because it's still growing. It's still brand new to so many people. So even after it's been out for 2-3 years now. So it's cool to see. It's cool to watch it happen all at once.
So Haley, you've been there for 3 years. And had you worked at a distillery before or in the spirits industry? And if you haven't or hadn't, what have you learned in those 3 years?
Sure. Great question. So not exactly. No, I did do some things for a Kentucky Eagle a while back. But really, no, I am no stranger to bourbon in my personal life. But I was a total stranger to more of the distillery life. I've gone and done all the tours that I possibly could. I kind of was a bourbon nerd before, but I said that I definitely wasn't as much of a nerd as most people are out there, right? I have been bested by so many, but I was very interested in it. My dad kind of taught me at a maybe younger age than appropriate, but that, if you're going to drink bourbon, this is how you do it. These are some of the brands you drink. Don't sit here and take a and put Coke in it, and taught early by that. And then my mom started working with Woodford. Let's see, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years ago. She started off as a tour guide, and then she actually kind of was an interim event coordinator after Tim Middle had moved on to do his own thing. So she kind of took his place temporarily, and then went back to back to tours after that. It's by no means her everyday job, but she just loves it out there so much she keeps doing it. So she kept up with it, but. Otherwise, my background is in biology and marketing. So I actually had a background in biology and was actually on the road to being a dentist for a long time. And I worked in the dental field a lot for a long time. So I'm very familiar with more of the laboratory side of things. And I'm very familiar with more of just how yeast works and how all those nitty gritty molecules come together. So that was really my background. And then I went to school again for marketing, and then ended up having a distillery open up in my hometown and went from there. So that's kind of my zigzagged pattern way through life to get me to where I am now. So
are you Danville born and raised?
I am Danville born and raised. I am. I've lived in Lexington now for 11 years, so that's more like home. But yeah, Danville born and raised for sure. For sure. So it was pretty exciting. Back in my day, at the tender age of 30, back in my day, I had to drive to the next county over to get my under drinking on. So Danville was a dry town when I grew up, and it went to like a semi-wet or moist town. Probably when I was later in high school, or maybe even after I left. I remember Applebee's getting to Danville and that being just the biggest thing to ever happen in that town. And now there's a full-blown distillery there, which is insane. And I was thrilled about it. I went on our opening day before I was ever employed there. I went out to the grand opening back in 2016, and that's when I met Pat and Shane, and kind of got the ball rolling on my way to being employed there the next year.
So what did you start out there as? Did you start out as a brand ambassador or as a social media director?
Yes. So that is what I was initially hired for, was to be a brand ambassador, be our social media coordinator, manager. We have a marketing team of 3, really. So we all wear a lot of hats around that place. My initial, but that was my initial start there. I had to train as a tour guide though for, a few months. And that was kind of as a way to make me, train me and teach me how to be as well-spoken as I possibly can about this bourbon. Tour guides get grilled for everything, right? If you've ever gone on a tour, ever given a tour, ever anything like that, tour guides get grilled for absolutely every question possible. 1, out of genuine curiosity. 2, because people want to try to show off their skills too, which is great. I love it, but also it means that you got to be ready to answer any question possible. And what better way to train somebody for the field than by throwing every question possible at them day in and day out. So that was my initial training. I also think it was kind of like a vetting process because I had to drive to and from Lexington to Danville every day. And that's a lot of time in a car to get up. You got to get up a little earlier to make it to that 8 a.m.
So how long's that drive?
It's about 50 minutes.
Okay.
So it's not terrible, but it makes for 10 hours of your week just getting to home or to work. Which there's been other employees to do that just end up moving to Danville.
So did you ever get caught off guard by one of those tour questions?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Especially early on, just kind of being new, throw me a science question my way. I got you. But throw me more of like a distillery mechanic, distillery function question my way. That was news. That was all new to me, So,
So there was for you.
Sure.
Yeah, I've got a science question for you. So last episode we were tasting butterscotch, and I said, Mike, that's a chemical name for that. What is the chemical name for butterscotch?
For butterscotch? Oh Lord, I don't know.
He said it was anise.
No, acetyl is what I said.
Acetyl?
But I don't think it's acetyl. I think it might be diacetyl or something else, but I can't remember. But anyway.
It is, but for butterscotch, it's got to have one of those acetyl. Yeah, it's diacetyl.
It is diacetyl. Well, I got it wrong anyway. I said it was acetyl, but
yeah, you're close though. You're close.
Yeah.
He said mint. Mint was anise.
Mint would be more of the anise.
Like an Indian restaurant, you said those little seeds that you clean your palate with.
Yes, exactly. That would be it for sure. And so acetyl, diacetyl is close to it.
Wait a minute. I'm going to put up my Walter White background.
Did you just Google that, Haley, while we were Googled us?
Well, I wanted to make sure it's a different chemical structure the way it is, and I couldn't remember I'm a visual person, so if I can remember how it looks, like the shape of it, then I'm okay. But it is Yeah. I've been bested a million times in this industry, and that's as someone who likes to learn, I am always taking notes. Always taking notes. I have a whole notebook right now just of new notes that I'm taking for different things. So if there's a chance for me to learn, or if it's an opportunity for me to say, okay, I didn't know that, then I'm gonna try. I'm sure I'm gonna remember it next time, because I will not be embarrassed by you again. So yeah.
So Haley, I gotta say, sipping on this wheat, you still get all those, like I said, almost the same notes you would get in the nose as the palate. It doesn't finish. It finishes nice and long. It just begs for you to take another drink of it, and that's what I love about your guys' wheated bourbon expression. It's good to drink almost any time. You can drink it by the fire, down by the creek, at my farm here, share it with friends. A great bourbon. People should go out there and buy it. So we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we got 2 expressions to drink. We're excited about those, and we'll get you to catch us up on what the future looks like for Wilderness Trail.
All right.
We would like to thank Tommy and Gwen Mitchell from Logheads Home Center for supporting this episode of the Bourbon Road. Logheads Home Center, nestled in the hills of Kentucky, is an industry leader in building handcrafted rustic furniture. Family owned and operated, they take pride in offering only the very best for their customers. The Logheads, and that's what they like to call themselves, are skilled woodcrafters who are passionate about creating rustic furniture for people who appreciate the beauty of natural wood. Owners Tommy and Gwen don't just sell the rustic lifestyle, they live it. And you can be sure that Logheads furniture will always be handcrafted in Kentucky by artisans who embrace the simple way of life. Logheads rustic furniture is made from northern white cedar, a sustainable wood that's naturally rot and termite resistant. Its beauty and quality will add warmth to your earthy lifestyle for generations to come. Be sure to check out everything they have to offer at logheadshomecenter.com. And while you're at it, give Tommy and Gwen a shout on Facebook or Instagram at Logheads Home Center.
So Haley, this expression right here, are you guys moving to that 6-year with both expressions or just with the rye?
So it's actually going to be just with we're starting with the wheat for the 6-year, only because the wheat's actually what we started making first. And in fact, that's what we, the wheat was going to be our flagship. That was going to be our kind of golden pony boy. And then the ryes were just going to be kind of like, and here's another option, essentially that we were going to present to our markets. But once we released both of our ryes, we found quickly that they were maybe more popular than what we had planned for. So we've had to restructure a lot of the ways that we've planned on what we're going to focus on, what we're going to shift gears to. It's always, we're constantly in a turntable of, okay, no, wait, let's try this, and experimenting with that and seeing. And a lot of it has to do with just hearing from, you guys, our consumers, people out there that are trying it for the first time and realize. Yeah. So yeah, after releasing the rye, we realized quickly, okay, we should probably focus more on this a little bit too. So initially, and also with that too, is why the rye was a small batch when we released it, and why it's still a small batch now is because we didn't have that much of it compared to our wheated. That was so, where our wheated the single barrel, we were just like pumping wheat. Let's go. Okay, let's make a rye here, and pump some more wheat. Let's go, and let's make another rye. And so we were like, okay, we now have enough aged product to make a 4-year-old small batch. We can release that out, go from there. And so once we realized, okay, we got to change gears here. So we've really upped our rye production. Whether or not we will go to a 6-year, that's kind of always been the goal for our bottle and bonds, especially, is just saying, hey, we really want to make it to that 6-year point. And it has increasingly gotten harder to get to that 6-year point just to keep up with the demand of the 4-year. So we're hoping to reach that 6-year point. It'll be probably further down the road than our 6-year wheat. But that's kind of the goal for now. Of course, we have the right to change that as we see. But I mean, that's always kind of been the goal, though, is that we get to that point with each of our bourbons. So eventually you will see a 6-year of this. Cross your fingers. The one nice thing about rye, though, especially, is, at a 4-year, it's way more likely to be at a more mature tasting flavor profile, right? So you don't have to worry so much about as much anticipation of what it's going to be like when it ages. With wheats, it's just like, oh gosh, let's see a 4, let's see that 6, because it takes so much longer and those flavors evolve so much more. Whereas rye is just much more of an abundant spice. It's much more of an abundant grain that, as far as the activity of it and the way it's going to, work to penetrate wood and the work it's going to do in the barrel. So tasting a 4-year-old is very mature, it can have those mature flavors as far as those flavors go. So I think we feel a little bit more comfortable on hanging in that 4-year-old area for a little bit while longer. Whereas with a wheat, we're just like, oh, all right, it's good now. We know what happens as it goes a little bit longer. So we'll see how this starts to develop over the next couple of years. We've just been kind of drained with the market, but we also just want to get it out there for you, especially, and just kind of keep the flow, keep the Wilderness Trail name going for people. Our goal is just to be a household product. So that's the exciting point for us, is really more than anything, for our longtime lovers, which long time being since 2013, we know that there's been that anticipation, but for so many people just within this last year this is just a phenomenal product as a 4-year-old. We just now started releasing to, I think, 22 states, is what we're finally in. And that's only been within the last probably 9 months or so that expansion has happened. So it's kind of interesting to see still how the market takes it and how we can adapt to that, and, with that growth.
So your capacity is pretty big. I mean, you guys are able to make a lot of whiskey, right? I mean, 200 plus barrels a day.
Yes, it's astonishing. So we obviously came from very humble beginnings. We at the very beginning we were making maybe 2 to 3 barrels a week. And that was pumping at full steam as much as we could. I say we. I wasn't there for that part, but Pat and Shane and a couple others, Jared and Mike, and really just trying to pull out some of the best work they could. And then once we finally graduated to that continuous column still, that allowed us to fill about 12 barrels a day, and that was a phenomenal step for us, right? That was a pretty big number. That was a pretty big jump. But with our latest and greatest expansion with the secondary continuous column still, that has allowed us for about a maximum of 230 barrels a day. That said, we still do a lot of other work for other distilleries. So, we're probably, for ourselves, only producing upwards of 150 to 200 barrels, where those other barrels, there's still a lot of production work going to other distilleries. either through contract production or, sometimes we'll run a mash to help doing any kind of troubleshooting or things like that. So there's still quite a bit of barrels that are going out to that, but it's been quite a big step for us. We took a big boy step with that continuous column still with all those different fermentation tanks, and it's really been phenomenal to see. And of course, that means more everything, right? More rick houses, more space, more all that. So, but it's been really, really fun to watch grow and see how everything continues to change. So yeah, it's been nice. Of course, with that, because of that, we finally reached, from a number standpoint, a level to where we could actually be on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, the main trail, with all the other big boys that are out there. So
congratulations on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. This was suited to be a big year for us until the virus happened. But this was going to be our first year on, and I mean, still technically is our first year on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. And of course, it is a pay to play organization. But that being said, you do have to meet a minimum standards to be on the main part of the trail, and a lot of that has to do with production and distribution and things like that. So, interestingly enough, most of those numbers, although are currently active, we're making those barrels, but those won't be reflected to the market for another 4 to 6 years. So we still feel very small by comparison.
So Haley, one of our, I would call him our super fans or super listeners, and we just named him or set him up as one of our moderators in our private group. His name's Adam Boothby, and him and his fiance, Sarah, they actually got engaged out there at Wilderness Trail on a Valentine's Day pic, I think.
They did. Yeah, they did. Which congratulations again to Adam and his fiance. We had a really great Valentine's Day event, and they came out and surprised us all with that. So I think I'm sure he can tell you better, or probably has, but I think he asked to kind of be slipped away into the rick house for a little private moment there for his now fiance. So it was super exciting. It's really, really cool to see things like that happen, because for better or for worse, we're a part of their story at some point now, right? And that's always really exciting. I think that's kind of, for me, as a marketer, especially, is the telltale signs of actually becoming that household brand, that household name. Things like that happening, people choosing to spend their anniversary out there because now Wilderness is their spot, it's their hangout. I have couples that people tell me, oh, well, this is a special place for us, so we do all our events here. We spend Christmas here. We kind of come back for this. Or our son goes to Center, so we always come to Wilderness, and that's like our family time. One of my favorite kind of moments for that too, which was I was looking for a house for sale, and of course you look through all the pictures, and I saw this their bar set up in front row in their bar was a bottle of the yellow Wilderness Trail weeded label. And I was like, we've made it. We've made it. I don't know why. That was the moment for me of being like, I'm in someone's house right now looking it up for sale. And that's what I see on their bar. Not any other bottle, not any, some of the guys that have been around for a while, but we were there. And it was just, I don't know. So yeah, but congratulations to Adam. That was so exciting. And he is, we've interacted before via the socials for some things. And he feels like a part of the family now too, which is really exciting.
I was trying to get Adam to get married out there at Wilderness Trail, and where I could be their ordained minister.
We We love that. That would be awesome. Are you ordained?
I am.
All right, there we go. So Adam, if you're listening, these are plans that we can set in motion for you.
I think they have a whole bunch of family down in Chattanooga to be upset. So
That's right. I can only fight so hard on that.
So Haley, our third pour, which I'm drinking out of a Distillery Products glass.
Oh, are you switching labels on me here, huh?
I am. Well,
I thought Haley was driving the boat.
oh yeah. Well, I was ready to. I'm ready to.
You're ready to move on.
Look at her down that thing.
I'm a professional. This is what we do.
So our third pour we have, what'd you bring for us?
So our third pour is our rye whiskey. And this is actually the second of the whiskeys that we produced or released. So we released our wheater, then we released the rye whiskey, and then we released our rye bourbon. So this was the first of our ryes that we released. And like you, Mike, I am a wheat fan. I love wheats. I have had, I'd had some experience with ryes in the past, but I guess I just was always put off by them. I just didn't find one that I really, really liked. And I wasn't that far into the bourbon world as I am now. It's amazing how far you can get when you take a just nosedive right into this world and really just eat, drink, and breathe it for day in and day out for years. That being said, I was like, okay, here's a rye. All right, buckle up, Perros. You gotta do it. This is yours. So, and one thing that I loved about Wilderness, to this day and prior to, especially someone who sells this product, is that I don't have to lie about this, right? I don't have to lie about a single thing that I say about this product, down to the fact that I love it, right? I don't have to, even with our vodka, which I have maybe a little bit too much PTSD when it comes to vodka. Maybe a couple bad nights in college that got away from me. But even with that, I don't have to lie about the vodka. I like it. I enjoy it. Will I drink it neat every day? Absolutely not. But as far as being a good vodka, I can back that. And I don't have to have a guilty conscience about that whatsoever. So here we are with a rye, and I was worried. But I have absolutely loved this product. I have enjoyed it thoroughly. It is so complex. It's so beautiful. So what we have is, it is also a 4-year-old product. So we are going a little bit different on the mash bill, of course. So this is a 56% rye, 33% corn, 11% malted barley. So for a rye, whereas our rye bourbon was a high rye, this is actually pretty low rye content for a rye whiskey.
What they call a Kentucky rye, right?
Right, Kentucky rye, exactly. We've got other distilleries. I think Newport's is like 98 or even 100%, rye. But this is more of a traditional Kentucky rye. And even more Kentucky, because we're still using Kentucky native rye in this product as well. And so 4 years old, low rye mash as far as that goes, but it is at a cask strength. So it's anywhere from 111 to, I think the highest I've seen with our cask strength so far is 120, maybe 121. This one I have right here is 113 proof. It is our, this one is also a single barrel. So this is one of our 2 single barrel products. So the wheated and the rye whiskey. We make things confusing. It's fine. But this is our, I don't know what proof you are drinking on over there, but mine's 113 proof. Got a couple, all right, 113, couple different variants there. Oh, a barrel pick to the lion's share. Even better. I love it. So that's what we're going to drink on. For me, what I love about our ryes is It's very in depth. I love rye. I've grown to love ryes in a lot of ways. For me, ryes in the past used to be just something that was just all spice, all heat, and just, punch you in the mouth kind of stuff. Which some people, that's what they want, right? They want that spice. They want that kick in the pants. They want that invigorating drink. I always kind of call ryes the Marlboro Reds of bourbon or whiskey, just because it's just that hefty level. It's the cowboy's drink, right? It's the more traditional flavor. And especially what I think that ryes done poorly often taste like, here's this beautiful plate of food, and now I'm just going to dump all this Tabasco sauce on it, right? All heat, no flavor. And I think ours, I think if you do it right well, you actually have a beautiful bloom of expansive flavors. And that's what I like about ours is, I get everything from floral notes. I get a lot of like lavender, a lot of hibiscus, honey in there even. I get the spice that I want in there, especially I get a lot of the spice towards the front, the florals in the middle, and then it's a nice finish of a mint flavor in the back. And just like a little dinner mint. It's great. The whole meal.
I know this is definitely Jim's jam, probably, is the rye. But I would probably like this rye more than Jim likes it. Because I think I'm a big red freak, like big red soda. I love it. I'm a Texas guy. So and when I smell this, I smell big red gum or big red soda, and it has that big red soda has that little bit of spice to it, just enough to let you know it's there. So to me, and this has been set in the glass for a minute, so it's the nose on it is just wonderful. Oh my gosh!
Opened it up a little.
No, I've had some of your rye. No, I've had some of your rye picks that are. I'm just one word would explain these. Epic. They were epic. I mean, they were just absolutely phenomenal. So we had the Lexington Bourbon Society on one show, and I'm a member there, but we had them on. Yeah, we had them on for a show, and they had one of their picks that they had chosen with you guys, and it was just absolutely candied orange, just amazing. And then, since then, I've had a number of your single barrel ryes, and they're just so different. They vary so much,
all over the board.
Now, this one here, the one that I'm drinking is a Lion's Share, and it is, this is a black licorice and Wrigley's gum combination. It's wonderful. It's just absolutely delicious, and it's got a little bit of grassiness to it, but in a good way. It's definitely in a good way, and I like this a lot. And I just picked up this bottle today, by the way. And it's a good pour.
Fresh, all right. Fresh off the shelf. That Lexington Bourbon Society pick, I actually sat in and I got the privilege to sit on that one. They had teamed up with a couple other, local establishments, and we ended up with two different barrels, because you couldn't narrow it down, and they are entirely different. But from one pick to the other, they were so different. And that's the other great thing about it, right? So that's an excellent pick. Some of the Lion's Shares have been phenomenal. That's the other great thing about it is especially either from a single barrel, or from batch to batch, you're going to have those variances, you're going to have those different nuances, and they're going to either be right up your alley, or maybe they'll intrigue you, maybe not at all. I think one of those picks ended up being much more on the smoky side of things, much more of that just like smoke oak barrel flavor, toasted marshmallow kind of flavor profile. And it was very different from that fruity, floral, like you said, the mints and things like that. So two entirely different picks coming from the same, same branch, not the same barrel or anything, but it's so interesting to see that. And that's what I like about it, is there's just so many different flavors. And one thing I like about this rye, as it's a Kentucky rye, that low rye level, is I think it allows for those variances very well, but with it being at a cask strength, you still get that kick that you're looking for when it comes to a rye, right? You're still going to get, alcohol alone is going to give you that punch that most rye lovers are looking for. So I think it's kind of the perfect, both of our ryes are kind of that perfect bridge of flavor profiles that you want, and maybe that's why I like it so much. I might be totally biased. Who knows?
Mike, I got a question for you. So this. Well, first of all, Haley, this rye, you call it your Settler Select rye. Mm-hmm. This is something that's always been at cask strength. Mm-hmm. It's always been bold and spicy and just a menagerie of flavors. Mike, do you have a country artist that you want to apply to this one?
Oh,
probably Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Oh, applause. Yeah. I like that.
Yes, it's smoother than what a regular rye would be to me. Mm-hmm. It's not that kick in the throat. It still has that Kentucky hug on the back end where it's not, it's not punching you in the back of the mouth. It's actually giving you that nice warm feeling and stuff. Like I'd said, mm-hmm. with like a cinnamon gum. I really dig it. If I was going to have to drink a rye and I'm not a rye drinker, this would be one of the ones I would pull off the shelf. And I would put this right up against maybe a Wild Turkey rye or somebody right there that somebody's been doing ryes for a bit. Jim's probably better at that than me. But I could drink this all day long. And that is saying a lot for me. Jim would tell you that.
Yeah, so with the Wilderness Trail Ryes, I'll just tell you right now, I've never seen so much variation in the barrels. So I've seen mm-hmm. such a wide variety of flavors come out of your picks that I'm always excited to try a new one. So when I went out and got this lion's share today, I was like, I can't wait to go back and try that. It's going to be different, I know. Now, this one doesn't have any orange in it, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But I get candied orange in a lot of your ryes, and this one not. So big difference.
They will vary. And that's the exciting thing, right? And what I like about that too is then you can almost go and like try to collect it, right? I mean, even from batch to batch, I was on our rye bourbon. I am now was drinking the DO2, which is like our second batch of the rye bourbon that we released. And it's still probably one of my favorites. So I saw it at Total Wine the other day and I was like, grabbing it. So yeah, I mean, the variances, those little nuances are so fun to try to find and see what you like. Yeah.
Are you guys excited about your tours coming back once the governor opens everything up?
Yes, we are excited about that. One thing we are trying to actively work on is just how to do that in the safest, healthiest way possible. Whatever we can do to follow guidelines and make people comfortable doing that. One big thing about us is, obviously, or any distillery is part of the tour experience, right? We're very proud of our tours. We love the experience that we offer. So we want to get that ball rolling as soon as possible. Of course, my Pat and Shane are no doctors. Well, Pat is a doctor, actually. They're not medical doctors, should I say. But they do know a lot about science. They know a lot about microbiology, and they feel comfortable, as long as we are allowed to do things in a really good way. So we're hoping to try to kind of start that process of saying, like, hopefully in the next few months, provided, that we're allowed to open up, how do we do that? How do we make people feel comfortable? So probably doing very limited tours, limited times a day, limited amount of people, things like that. Even with our 6-year release, we're planning that. We don't have a tentative date on it yet, but we're hoping for maybe even the end of the month to do a curbside release for it, just to allow for people to pick up this product, finally have a 6-year wheat in their hands. We've been talking about it forever. Let's get it out there, and doing that in a safe way. And so likely that's going to be, pre-ordering and doing that. The same thing with the tours is going to be something along the lines of probably, calling ahead, registering, maybe even doing something along the lines of only allowing so many people at the gift shop at a time. But we're excited to hopefully within the next month or so, provided everything goes well, caveats to all this, to be open and doing limited tours.
So people should like keep an eye on the website for any announcements or.
Please, website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even. We are active on all of that. So yeah, all of those would be great resources once we start getting the ball rolling. So we're kind of in the planning stages of it, just because we are constantly being updated with things like OSHA guidelines, recommendations, and of course, obviously, as we are getting new information day by day from the governor, from the CDC, et cetera, et cetera. And so we just want to make sure we're following as much as we can with all that, whether it's through, obviously, 6 feet, social distancing, good PPE, and, probably making sure people take a good shot of barrel strength before they leave.
And you guys are making hand sanitizer as well, right?
We are making hand sanitizer. We have made about 40,000 gallons of hand sanitizer.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yes. And it has been another rapid shift in the way we've had to work and operate and things like that. So, we make it with our new make, in addition to hydrogen peroxide, water, those things, glycerin, glycerol being the other component of that. So we do it, and as far as the World Health Organization standards goes, we provide a label, et cetera, et cetera. And we've been donating almost all of it to local hospitals, first responders, et cetera, to try to help do all that. We have sold a little bit, mostly to private consumers or small establishments, things like that. But most of it, I would say a good 98% of it has been in donation to just try to help as we possibly can.
Yay to you guys. Good job. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's been a wild ride, that's for sure. But it's been great to be able to adapt very quickly to be able to make it all happen. And we've had a lot of help doing that too. We've had several organizations donate and everything from grain to ethanol. So it's been really nice. Yeah.
Well, Haley, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show today. It's been a great time. I hope we've managed to touch on all the points that, that are important to our listeners and to let them know what's going on. And Haley, thank you so much for being a guest on the Bourbon Road.
We do appreciate all of our listeners, and we'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with us here on the Bourbon Road. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and if so, we would appreciate if you'd subscribe and rate us a 5-star with a review on iTunes. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Bourbon Road. That way you'll be kept in the loop on all the Bourbon Road happenings. You can also visit our website at thebourbonroad.com to read our blog, listen to the show, or reach out to us directly. We always welcome comments or suggestions, and if you have an idea for a particular guest or topic, be sure to let us know. And again, thanks for hanging out with us.